That's a nice piece of silver. And there's one thick piece of copper. There's another one. 1/3 of an ounce of copper made up 1 penny. $1957. Centavos. Cool. You don't see many of those. Oh, hey. Yeah, it's June the 19th, 2013 today, but what were you doing watching me when I didn't give you any permission to? I mean, that's an invasion of my privacy. Of course, I'm joking around and referring to the Prism thing that's been going on for the past over a week now, making its rounds and making some waves. But it's nothing that people that watch this channel didn't already know. The extent of it is fairly alarming. I mean, every keystroke, every mouse click, every microphone recording that we make on any phone or computer is recorded for all time and associated to our real identities whenever possible. Pretty alarming, pretty drastic, but you know, it's something that I've said 5 years ago and was told I was crazy at the time. Turned out that it was true. But anyhow, what I wanted to mention is, isn't it funny how on Facebook, if any of you have used Facebook, I'm sure at least a few have, there's always those things going around like, you know, oh, the privacy settings on Facebook are so bad. Forward this to all your friends and tell them to go into their settings and click on this menu and pull down this thing and, you know, uncheck this box. Otherwise, Facebook, you know, can leak your information. It's like, none of that mattered. None of it mattered. You know, Facebook is known for its privacy violations. That's what it's known for, other than how viral it's been and how many people use it. That's the other side. But yeah, that's one of the things that's known about Facebook. You even see it on CNN, front page sometimes. Facebook privacy issues. Isn't it funny how none of that mattered? In fact, it didn't matter on Facebook, Google, YouTube, Yahoo, Microsoft, Apple products. It doesn't matter anywhere. It's all being recorded and it's all being submitted to several different government agencies and corporations. So it's just kind of funny how we were so obsessed about that. And I was there too. You know, I had a Facebook account a few years ago and I was making sure I had all the right privacy settings checked and all that crap. It didn't matter one bit. It's all being recorded and it's all available to the government and anyone the government wants to see it. But anyhow, this is not about that. This video is about silver. Yum. So moving right along to a chart. Just a quick look at the weekly silver chart. This is since QE3 to infinity was announced right here at $35 after this move up we had. And this has been a 40% drop in the spot price of silver, or at least the ETF SLV, since that time. Of course, QE3 is essentially the devaluation of fiat currency on a grand scale, unprecedented and never seen before. And that intuitively would mean that the price of things denominated in those US fiat dollars would appear to be going up. That has happened in the stock market, but it certainly hasn't happened in other places, for example, gold and silver, who have taken just an enormous hit. It's as almost though that the Federal Reserve is printing gold and silver bullion out of their printing presses, which is of course impossible, and it can only be created in the center of a star going through a supernova. So it's really weird, but this is not responding to supply and demand of physical silver in the market. This is responding to other forces, and it can go where those other forces want it to go. And it does look like it is going down. Why would it not go below $20 at this point? It's at $21 now, 21 and a few cents. And it certainly can go below $20. In fact, it can go to zero. We're not talking about a real item here. We're talking about an unlimited and manipulated paper product. So it can do whatever it wants. The physical market doesn't necessarily have to play along. thus far it is, and you can buy silver at, well, not $21, but you can buy an ounce of silver at somewhere around $25 right now in most places. But yeah, we are at the lowest point going back to, well, I'll look at that in a minute, but going back a few years, except for a few weeks ago we had that move on a Sunday night when no one was awake, and websites were, you know, down for maintenance or whatever for that half an hour period for some reason, and you couldn't buy silver here. But we are at the lowest point in, let's look at the monthly chart. We are now at the lowest point going back to 7/2010, so that's July 2010. So approximately 3 years, this entire 3-year period has been erased. And as you'll notice here, we are at this point here on the left, which happened in February 2008. So what's that, 5.5 years ago? Silver is at the exact same point as it was 5.5 years ago. That's about a year before I started paying attention to silver, which was right here at the late 2008 lows. But the only thing I wanted to say other than that about this chart is, for those who haven't seen the long-term silver chart before, one thing to notice is the pattern of making a new high, having a drastic pullback, and then a consolidation period, and then breaking out to a new high, having a drastic pullback. This is actually very drastic. This is 30% drop here. This is major stuff. It just looks small now in hindsight because we're up here. But yeah, another pullback, major pullback, consolidation, recapturing those old highs, breaking out, pullback, consolidation, recapturing those highs, new high, pullback. What's next? There was a video posted on Mike Maloney's channel last night called Mike Maloney on Drutter's Divergence. This is the silver demand versus price divergence. And I will link it down below. It does have some good information on it. I'll show you maybe the first little bit here.
There's a guy on the internet that goes by the name of Drutter that noticed this divergence happening. This blue line is the price of silver, and it rises and then consolidates and rises.
He goes on to talk about it for a couple minutes, and I think it's maybe worth a look if you haven't seen Mike's take on this. I hadn't seen it until yesterday myself. I heard that this happened from a subscriber of mine, I think in Sydney, who was at a conference where this was discussed. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Mike very much, and for your team, Dan and others, for posting this footage, first of all. And also really for what you said in the description box, which starts off, one of the most beautiful aspects of the internet is the rise of the citizen journalist and the freedom of the individual to choose his or own news sources. And that's just beautiful to me. I think I absolutely agree with that. And that's not just something I agree with, that's sort of how I've run my channel and why the reason I'm kind of here. The reason I sort of started up with this is because I wanted to have a voice, and I felt like I had something to add. And now I feel like I have added something. I feel like I had added more than just this before, and people have been watching my channel for years now and tell me that I'm, adding something or providing something of value and adding value to the internet. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I really believe that the internet is the game changer. I really, really believe that. Even more than most of us think or know. I think that it can change the world. It sounds very cliche, but I think that the internet is basically how we're going to defeat the tyranny that is rising up. And I think in a way it is the cause of the tyranny that's rising up right now, because they know that they can't stop the internet and they can't stop people from connecting and learning from each other and coming to an awareness that they have never had before. And really that is what my channel is trying to do. I just want to put a tiny, tiny little bit of my brain out there and my voice out there. And I think you can tell I'm impressed by what was written here. That's more to me than being featured on Mike Maloney. I'm getting people mailing me and calling me and talking to me and saying congratulations and stuff like that. Well, thank you, congratulations, but this is just data, and it's just something that I noticed. I really, really don't want any credit for this. I'm very thankful to Mike and his team for mentioning my name, and giving credit and saying we're the source. of the idea came from, but the data is just public data. The data is available on the Mint's website, and I just happen to be the first, or maybe even not the first, I don't know, the first that I'm aware of anyhow, to point it out. And no, it wasn't me that named it either. I just called it a divergence between the price and the demand, but I think it was Brother John F. who did a follow-up video on it right after he saw my video, and I think he was the one that called it that. But anyhow, I don't want to talk about it too much. I will put the link down below, but I wanted to thank Mike Maloney and his team, and really just agree, I guess, with this, what this says right here. And the rest of it's kind of interesting too. Drutter posted a video online with his findings, and the precious metals community was astounded that a guy working from his backyard with a coffee and a cigarette, I don't smoke tobacco cigarettes and I don't drink coffee, but you know, the imagery is there, was able to come up with data that industry heavyweights had missed. I don't necessarily agree that I was not given any kudos for the discovery, because I'm a little bit embarrassed at the amount that I have received, and I don't want any more. It's just data, and I'm just trying to be a guy that has a voice out there and just do a little bit of contributing, and I feel like maybe I have contributed a little bit, just a little bit, and I want to keep doing that. It's been my goal, and I'm not going to stop there. I'm just going to keep on going. So to the new subscribers, I think I got like 100 new subscribers off of this already. Welcome, but you will find that this is not a conventional channel about investing. It's certainly not a channel that really is all about silver. It's about everything to do with liberty, and I think silver and gold are one aspect of liberty, because they are sound money, and money that the government is not necessarily in control of, and that's why I talk a lot about gold and silver, and it is sort of my focus. So if you're interested in gold and silver, then this might be a good channel to check out. But I do talk about other things. I do drop the F-bomb, all that kind of stuff. So it's not a channel that is for everybody, but if it's for you, then welcome, and we'll see how it goes. Now this probably looks fairly familiar to you, but I'll draw your attention to some changes that have happened. It used to be that at the bottom of the screen you could click what year you want, you know, from 2000 up to 2013. Actually, I think it went all the way back to when they started in, what was it, 1986 or something. There was like a bunch of dates here, and you click it, and it takes you to the data for silver and gold bullion sales for that year. And it was fairly hard to navigate and fairly inconvenient, but the data was there and it was accessible. Now that those links are not there, now to determine the year, you have to go up here to these pull-down menus, select American Eagle. The other options are American Buffalo or America the Beautiful Silver Bullion 5-ounce coin, which I didn't know anyone was even looking for the data on those, and you can find it elsewhere on the internet, so I don't know why it's been added here. But you click American Eagle, then you select sales totals, and then you select what year you want. So 2011, and go. And there it is, 2011's silver data and total. And then, but we want to go back to 2013. I'm not really sure why this has changed. It hasn't been changed in years, and now all of a sudden it's different. And you know, these numbers in this Mint website has been under a little bit more viewership and a little bit more scrutiny over the past 6 months or so. So I'm just wondering if that had anything to do with why it's changed, or if it was just another one of those coincidences. Regardless of that, we do have some new data, so I'm going to pull up a calculator and run those numbers. As you recall, we're expecting this to come to somewhere between 3.5 and 4 million for June. They used 500,000 ounces from May, carried it over onto June 1st's numbers to avoid May being a headline, you know, all-time record May. It was just under that. So there was 500,000 ounces in this June numbers, and that's why our original projection came to something like 10 million for June, and then as the month has progressed, that projection number is coming down and down and down, and last video I did, I think it came to 4.4 or something like that. So I'm expecting this to be around or under 4 million now, and these numbers were just released a few hours ago, and I've already done the calculation, but I'll do it again on screen just for dramatic effect. And there we have it, 3.74. So about 3.75 million is the figure we're going to end up for in June, and that number is probably going to come down even further, perhaps to about 3.5. 3.4 was the all-time best June ever, and that was in 2011 that we had on screen before. There it is. And I do believe that we will beat that, unless, of course, they hold over some of the data and put it onto July's numbers, which is something that they've been doing each time we get close to making an all-time record. To sum up this video quickly, thank you very much, Mike, for amplifying my voice. The US Mint has upgraded their website and it is no longer as functional as it used to be. The June totals show that we are approaching 3.5 to 4 million, so we probably are going to have a record June, just as we had a record May, April, March, February, and January. And silver continues to fall. Talk to you guys soon. And remember, if you haven't done anything illegal, then you have nothing to hide, unless you've heard about something called privacy.